Holy shit. Of course, technology. Okay, hold on.
What?
You need a blooper
Right?
section.
Hello, Holy Spirit.
That's going to be the thumbnail for the show. That's going to be the thumbnail. Saturn is going into my Uranus.
Good podcast name.
Okay. What are we calling this one again?
Saturn into Aries.
Not my anus. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. We're just going to laugh our way through this one. Okay. Welcome back to another edition of the Pear Genius Podcast. We have the blooper reel all set up. We have the tomfoolery all out of the way. We welcome back the Sandy Mulroy and the Catalan Nagy Pauls, the irresistible, the
Really?
squishable.
My middle name yet? Or my
Yes.
maiden name? Did
The
you just
lovable.
say squishable?
Yes, you're so squishable. I love you. You can tell that the heart chakra is open, and it's here for Sandy. Like I said, I got my Bluetooth fixed. I feel nothing but love now. She is a psychological astrologer. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
It's weird because people think of astrologers and they think of predicting things that are coming up, but I love that your take is really different. What is a psychological astrologer?
Instead of predicting the future, we look inwards and peel back the layers so you can handle anything that comes your way. So the dumbest way to dumb it down is psychological astrology focuses more on your character and your cosmic blueprint.
Love it. Yeah. So today we're talking about how Saturn is moving into Aries. And of course, I'm always fascinated by these things because in my mind, I'm watching this like sky clock turning, and we're going into this next segment. So what does that mean for us, Sandy?
I love this one. So this is going to be significant for several people, and which we can go through later. Everybody. So Aries is the start of the zodiac. So when Saturn enters Aries, what's happening is we're starting a brand new cycle. And the last time Saturn was in Aries was 1999. Saturn takes 28 and a half years to move through a whole season, astrological season. So Saturn rules discipline and hard work and restriction, but for, think of the hard, long walk up the hill as opposed to the elevator. Saturn's the hard walk up the hill. There's a lot of lessons on the way. There's a lot of, you think you're doing this way and then you got to circumvent that. But Saturn is really that master of hard work. And Aries is all about initiative, right? Aries is let's start something. Let's assert ourselves. Let's trailblaze. Let's make our own path up this hill. So a lot of the energy is about breaking free and being more independent. So a lot of people during Saturn going into Aries are going to step back from perhaps relationships or jobs or places where they've been just going with the flow, and they're like, wait a minute, like I matter. I'm going to put energy into this, into me. Aries also rules self. So you're going to see a lot of stuff like that. You're also going to see some conflict with people that are control freaks, because as people start to assert themselves, the controlling people sometimes have their issues and they're feeling restricted, and vice versa. So it can cause a little bit of conflict, but for the most part, it's the start of the season. So starting new things, you're going to see people that to-do list that they've always had but never quite reached, it's going to start. They're going to plan. They're going to go. They're going to forge forward. So those are the main places that you'll see like it affect globally. And because it's the start of a new season, Saturn really struggles in Pisces because the energies, Saturn likes, rigid rules and how things work traditionally and always have. Structure actually is the word. Saturn likes structure. Pisces is ethereal and does not understand that. But Aries does. Aries is a cardinal sign. They start the spring solstice. So they understand that it needs to be done now, and we need to continue this momentum forward. And Saturn's like, oh, I can get behind that. All right, we're going to slow the pace down, but let's do that. So we call it exalted when Saturn goes into a cardinal sign like Aries.
Oof, that lit me up. That feels good. Exalted. Yeah. I like that word. That's fantastic. And you know what else? I love that this is happening in spring. Like it's such a, like, what a complementary, beautiful energy to work with now. And especially for entrepreneurs, it's like, you know what? Yes, I'm going to do my own projects, but also people will come to me now ready to have their stuff taken care of. So yes, it feels good all around.
100%, especially in your line of work. And pretty much anyone that deals with people who want that liberation, right? Because, you know, when you look at the archetypes, the ones that really don't do well with authority is, you know, Aries or Aquarius or Sag or stuff like that. They don't like it. But when you've got Saturn coming in here, they're like, all right, well then let's pave the way for you. So it really works a lot on people, and we all have those energies in our chart. So somewhere in your chart, you're going to be feeling this.
I feel like it's a nice little present from the universe because everything feels so chaotic right now with what's happening externally. But then also, it feels like there's like this influx of light coming in, and that's kind of screwing me up a little too. So now here's this beautiful little present of Saturn moving into Aries, where we get to actually have some energy to work with us and move us forward. And I really love that.
I love how you put that. And to me, it is super important because, you know, you think of Saturn, you think of Aries, and I do a lot of hiking. And you know the energy of Speedy Gonzalez when we were a kid? Like he's just, that's like Aries energy. So if you can put it into a system that can bottle that and work with it, that's good. I mean, it can, again, there's conflict with anything because everything has shadows and evolved states as we move through transits. But for the most part, Saturn is very happy in Aries.
That's awesome. And you know what? I have to share just a little tiny thing so last night I went to a sound bath, the new moon sound bath at your place. And there was a man there who talked about his deep, loving relationship with Scorpio, even though he's not Scorpio. And I thought, oh my God, like what a beautiful way to word that. Yes, I'm Scorpio, so I spend a lot of time getting to know Scorpios. Like, why don't I have that relationship with all the zodiac signs? So now I have a client who I'm doing brand alchemy for, and she's an Aries, and I'm getting to know Aries. And I'm like, that's why she came to me. Like, I meant to actually deepen my relationship with Aries. So I think this is a good opportunity for everybody to deepen their relationship with Aries.
Absolutely, because wherever Aries is in your chart is where Saturn is, which means that if you are not bringing awareness there, that's where you could feel a little bit more of that restriction, right? And so on. So you can, I always say this with everybody, you can resist a transit or work with it. If you work with it, great things happen. If you resist it, it doesn't always feel so good.
So what day is this actually happening on? Has it happened
May 24th.
May 24th.
May 24th is the actual day. And then that also means because there's 28.5-day cycles, anyone who is born between 1996 and 1999, they have to check their chart because they are most likely going into their first Saturn return. Wow. And those are our major transits of our lifetime is our Saturn return, Uranus opposition, and so on. It marks actual adulthood. So responsibilities and alignment with purpose and stuff come in because that's what Saturn really, the agenda of Saturn is what is your purpose? What will fulfill you? And let's start working towards it.
I've been really lit up this last week and a half, and I don't know, I couldn't explain it unless Sandy comes and explains it to me of like, why is this happening? But I feel like I've already been on the cusp of this for a week, and all of a sudden I'm energized to take everything out of my garage and build shelves and treat myself the way I want to be treated and organize, because my garage really is a reflection of me. And Kathy always goes in there and she's like, oh my God, closes the door. And I'm like, I know this is happening, but I feel like I'm coming into the season where I'm cleaning everything up in my house so that I can go out and, well, first gotta love myself. I gotta clean it up, love myself, make it the way it's supposed to be, and then go out into the world and be the best version of myself. And this thing has been haunting me for how long have we lived in this house? 7 years? 7 years. And it's like the last thing
now.
that I will, yeah. And it should have been the first thing that I did when I first moved here.
Had to be the right time. And that's interesting, Alex, because that brings up a good point. A lot of times, because the actual movement into Aries starts on the 24th, but transits aren't just cut and dried, right? Like as one falls away, one enters. So I do that a lot with solar returns or anything like that. It's just, layering it up. So you're probably feeling those stirrings because Aries does. It's that reflection of you. Aries is the I am sign. And Saturn's like, let's get this in order, like, so it can be efficient. And
that's the only way to explain it. That's the only way to explain it, because all of a sudden I had this extreme, and ask Katya, I've had this extreme hyper focus, this extreme burst of unlimited energy to do the extremely hard thing of taking every single thing out of my garage and building it perfectly and making it perfect. And she saw me after 2 or 3 days. I was totally spent because I was so focused on it, making it perfect.
Love that. Wow. I'm curious to see where this is affecting you in your life. I think that'll be super cool to explore.
So I think that so you did say before that when we're forecasting, it's about the rising sign, right?
Yes. And I do have that all down here if you'd like me to go through which, how everybody will feel this.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So just a reminder, some of the stuff we talked about with Saturn and Aries, the themes are going to be about maybe a little restriction, but mostly that hard work, that discipline, that alignment and movement. And Aries it's initiation. It's that energy. It's starting and moving and independence and so on. So we all have Aries in our chart somewhere. There is Aries in every single person in the world. And the biggest misconceptions of astrology is identifying as one sign. You're all of them. And so wherever Saturn is right now is going to be where you're going to feel that. And yeah, so we go by the rising sign. So Cuddy, thank you for that reminder. So anyone who's listening, your rising sign will give you the key as to what area of life. So not the sun sign, your rising sign. So we'll start. I'm going to start with, let's start with Aries. So Aries rising, this does happen in the first house. So if you have an Aries rising sign, what is your rising sign, by the way? Sorry, Alex, I need to ask. Do you know?
And I was going to ask Sandy, how do we find our rising signs? Do we go to Solar Power Health?
Any astrology app, you enter your information, will tell you your rising sign. But yeah, you can come to Solar Power Health. I definitely have it.
Cool. I wanted to plug you there for a second. And Katya's going to let you know what my rising sign is because I always forget.
Capricorn. Oh, yeah. So any of the cardinal signs right now, when Saturn goes into Aries, Capricorn, Libra, and Cancer will also feel that the most. And the reason is because there's 90-degree angles to all of them. So they all kind of get this influx a little bit more so than other ones. So if you have a rising in there or strong, those signs in your chart. So yeah, that would explain a lot. So I'm going to start with, I'm actually going to start in order of how I have it written down. So it's not going to be an astrological order, but that's okay, because then we can just search for it later. So I'm going to start with people who have a Leo rising. So Leo rising, this is going to take place in the 9th house, and this is the house of our beliefs. So what's going to be restructured is probably going to have something to do with those, the actual beliefs that society or we have. It's also, most of them are going to go on a trip. This is when we start to schedule that long distance vacation we've never done, that our soul is calling us to do. Not just the Mexico margarita trip. This is I want culture. I want to see the world differently. So whether that's getting on a plane and going somewhere or going on a deep dive through their beliefs, this is where they're going to feel that. So that's Leo. Cancer rising. This is going to happen in their house of their career or what they want to do. I also call it the house of reputation because it's really, some people's career isn't money. It could be traveling the world and having a blast. Whatever it is that they're called to do, their purpose is going to be activated right now. What is it I want to contribute to humanity? Why did my soul put me here? What fulfills me? What fills my cup? And how do I want to be known? The legacy, the reputation is huge in that 10th house. So it's like, stepping into what I want to offer and how I want to be seen. Their bio. It was fun writing the bio today because it's fun when you have to write your own, because then you start to really be like, how do I want to be known? That's 10th house. So that's where Cancer will feel it.
So that's my sign. I'm the Cancer rising.
Yeah.
So based on everything that you just said, because Saturn is moving into Aries, that's energy I get to work with, right? It's leaning into my soul purpose and my reputation and all that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Taking the initiative, the assertion, the independence, and working hard towards your career, your purpose. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. So continue.
I love that. So Gemini risings, this is going to take place in their social house, the 11th house, which is all about friendships, connection. I call it the house of the social network, but really it's going to take the initiative to become leaders in their groups or use their networks for whatever it is that they want to achieve right now. So it's leaning into community or restructuring community. Could be like overhauling the clientele. Could be so many things. Harnessing launching their podcast, launching their, stuff that's going to go out on the social web. This could be a whole bunch of things for them. But mostly it's going to let them take the reins in that more social aspect of life. Taurus rising, these people are going to have the most fun of all because they are in the house of the subconscious. And this is a crafty house because it doesn't make a lot of sense in our reality. So these people are going to be drawn inwards. They're going to be like the changes are going to be happening in the dream worlds, in the subconscious programming, in this introspective part of their nature where they just become aware of habits, but where the habit started and how they can change it. So they're going to be like doing this whole inward, like take charge kind of thing and probably processing a lot of things. So going to be a really good cleansing time for them. Aries rising back in their first house. So anybody who has an Aries rising, this is a physical thing. This is where we go on the diets. We get our health on order. We start moving forward. So anybody who has Aries as their rising, it's their body is what they're going to work with, but also their identity. So this is different than their public outcry. This is the role that they play on that day-to-day basis. Basically, the rising sign is who the universe wants us to be. So it's kind of this energy that we're already geared for and curious about. So Aries rising, this is going to be like, who am I? Pisces rising signs are going to have this in their second house. So if you have a Pisces rising, this is where you're like, you know what? There is something to maybe having some financial security. Maybe I am going to invest. Maybe I am going to talk to a financial planner and get things underway. Or maybe this is my time to buy a house or sell a house and downsize or upsize or whatever stage of life you're at. Pisces is going to be drawn into that personal security and dealing with the actual material life assets we have in life. Aquarius rising signs, this is going to be a fun one for them because it's going to be all about their brain is going to take on all those courses, those classes they wanted to take. They're going to be geared towards that, but there's going to be a thirst almost like I need to not only have this, but apply this. So they're going to step into that teacher role. They're just going to be swimming with information and just needing a place to put it out. So this is, if you're Aquarius rising, this is like the time to write the book or to, get the word out, share it however they can. But it's also going to be where they're going to go out a lot more in their community. And by community, I don't mean the people. I mean like the small road trips, the little places where they, maybe start getting out, hiking or nature or somewhere where they can actually see how cool their own setting is. And the last thing I'll say for Aquarius rising is this is all about the mind chatter. So depending on their mindset, they're going to find a lot about the power of using their mind as an ally or as a crutch. Capricorn risings, this is going to be an interesting one because their energy is going to be pulled back into the home. Most Capricorn risings are really work oriented. So home is like, I need to remodel the house. I need to restructure this. I need to nest. I need to create, right? And that was you, Alex.
Yeah,
I'm
totally
dealing with this garage. Yeah. So yeah, when you're in the fourth house, this is the energy of home and family and where like the ambiance of home and making it feel like something that you want to nest and be in. So definitely makes sense to you.
Totally nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it. Sagittarius rising, this is that whole beautiful fifth house, which Cuddy, for you, you have a fifth house stellium. So this would also, even though you have a Cancer rising, this will also probably apply because it's going to nail all those planets in your fifth house. But anybody who has a Sagittarius rising sign, Saturn will be entering their fifth house. And this is where we really step into our unique self-expression and what we want to be doing. And I say self-expression, and I don't mean it verbally. Who do you want to be? How do you want to dress? What do you want to do? What would you do if you didn't have any pressure from anything else? So it's really the house of the heart and being able to fully 100% work with the ego in its glory as it is now. You know, to transcend it, we have to learn to love it. So beautiful, fun one. So Sagittarius are going to be drawn to have even more fun than they normally have.
Lucky.
Yeah, I know, lucky.
When is yours, Sandy?
My rising is Gemini.
Oh, okay, so we already did yours there. That was
Yeah,
cool.
social network. And yeah,
Nice.
it's amped up like crazy. So Scorpio rising, if you have a Scorpio rising, this is in your house of health. This is going to be where you're like, you know what? I need a better routine. This one doesn't serve me. I need to incorporate some practices that I can do day to day that are going to actually help me. And it's going to bring you back into literally the day-to-day life, but all for the actual health. So not the physical body as much, all of it. Like, how can I make my routine work for me and serve me is how they're going to overhaul that. So these are also people that will probably have the same kind of symptoms as the Aries rising. They will still, you know, want to go on the diet and all that, but theirs will be a different agenda. It'll be like, I need to come home to feeling good. Libra risings, they're going to be in their own house, just like Aries is in their own house. They're going to be overhauling their relationships. This is where their marriage gets a look overhaul, business partners, anybody they have a contract with, essentially, even their nemesis. Anybody that's that one-on-one energy in our life, if they have a Libra rising, this is where we start to look at, you know, I actually want some independence in this relationship, or I want more out of my relationship, or, you know, how is it serving me? So this will be a significant one, like any of the 4th, 10th, which you guys both have, I believe. Yeah, you have Capricorn and Cancer rising. So you guys are all going to feel this in houses that are very important. Our relationships, you know, our home, our purpose, and yeah. So anybody who has a Libra rising, this is going to be in relating to others, and especially with those that they have those tight one-on-ones with. If they aren't, this is also a time where they start to maybe think about, what does a relationship look like for me? Like, what is it I want? And they can often reflect back and grow from there. And then lastly, Virgo risings. If you have a Virgo rising, this will be taking place in your 8th house. And this is that house of the taboo subjects. So oftentimes Saturn is like, you need to confront the stuff that you've been told no, and the feelings that are associated with that, and how can we work through shadows. Oftentimes the 8th house also is things that need to come to an end. So Saturn can come in and be like, you know what, this needs to go, this needs to go. Actually, it's not even Saturn that does that. It's Aries. Aries is like the wildfire, and Saturn's like, all right, this is all gone. Aries can do the new beginning as well. So they work well, but the 8th house is like karmic crap. Like, get rid of it. Yeah. So that's how it will affect everybody. And it's going to last. We're going to have this happen from May 24th. September 2nd, it goes back into retrograde for a little bit. So it'll dip back into Pisces. And then it comes back February 15th, where it will stay for until 2028 of April.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So we have the whole summer to work with this amazing energy.
Yep. And then we get a little bit of a break as it goes retrograde, which means we get to be like, all right, how can I do this? You know, and then it steps back in full throttle coming in February 15th.
You know what I like is that it's a break, that you worded it that retrograde is a break, because that it has such a negative connotation about it. Oh,
It does.
Mercury's in retrograde. Like, you know, but no, it's a time of rest. You know, it's not what you think it is.
I love that you say that, because so many people, full moons and retrogrades, it's like, let's put all our blame here. And I'm like, no, it's actually, first of all, most of the planets spend half of their time in retrograde almost all year. So if that was the case, we'd just be complaining all the time.
I'm picturing the planets in the way they move around, and it looks like spirograph. Like, I don't know if anyone has ever seen it, but depending on which planet it is, it has its own little, but I know exactly where the retrograde is. It's kind of like a little loop back, and then it keeps going. So that's interesting. Yeah. I love that. We got to get our spirographs going so we can, chart the stars.
I remember that when I was a kid, spirograph. It was so pretty. All the different colored pens.
I bet you they got that idea. They got it from sacred geometry and the planets. I'm sure they did.
Well, yeah. I mean, you watch how those things move. And the important thing too about this, I gave everybody examples, but everyone's chart is different. So it might not be 100% accurate if you're a degree away from a sign or something. So if you want to be 100% sure, it is literally what I do for a living, but you could look that up to astro.com, or any of them will show you where Saturn is. But for a guideline, this is where most people will feel it.
And I think that this was just enough information for people to get curious. Now, I've been to astro.com and I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, and yet I still need Sandy to tell me. So yeah, send them to astro.com. But I think that especially now, because we just had the full moon, we just released a bunch of stuff, and now we're in spring. So let's plant some seeds. And if we're working with the energy, we're really setting ourselves up for an unbelievable summer.
I 100% agree, Cuddy. And, not related to Saturn coming into Aries, but we have Uranus conjunct the sun, which, the sun's going to move away within a week. But like, if there's ever a seed planting time, it's now, because Uranus is like, let's do it differently. Let's try it this way. And with Saturn and Aries and everything moving, it's really like it's like a rewiring of the brain. People talk about that all the time. It's so powerful when you do something differently and it's successful.
100%.
I love my reading.
And I think, right? Like, are you talking about your solar return or this one?
This one right here. I loved it. I'm like, this is perfect. I want to get the house, because I'm not a nester. That's what I have a wife for. My wife always takes care of the nest. But lately I've been very, and she can attest to this, that I'm trying to make the home almost abnormally perfect. Like, I don't usually go above and beyond like I have been. So this energy is very not like me. So this explained a lot to me, so I want to say
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure. And it's funny because Saturn gets a bad rap in astrology. Usually Saturn and Pluto are the planets nobody wants to go there. But it's because Saturn is a disciplinarian. He's kind of like that strict parent, right? He knows our potential, so it's going to make us work for it. But if you look at it as the loving parent, it actually can change the nature of it. And you can see that restriction's not necessarily restriction. It's just not yet. Like, show me, So this energy, I think, is going to be incredible, because if you think of, sitting on a thoroughbred, the potential of Aries to move instantly is huge. But then if you have that control, that Saturn brings, this is a dynamic duo that can really change that area of your life, especially if you harness it.
I think as far as the couple goes, like B and Kati, the two of us together, because she's really coming into her next evolution of that, and I'm coming along for the ride. It's like, okay, cool. I'm making the space as amazing as it can be for her to level up, and me as well. We're really trying to get to that next level of the next version of ourselves, and I think that this is an exciting moment for us.
That is exciting.
That's a really good point, dear, that I think it would be such an amazing time for couples as well to come and have that reading done together, because not only is it important to know what you're working with, but to know what your spouse is working with so that you can create space for them to do that.
Yes, that's actually really well said, because if you're in a couple, if you're in a strong marriage and you work with this energy together, like I mean, how can you get more supportive than that?
Half the battle's
The
understanding.
stars are supporting you, right? The stars are supporting you. Your spouse is supporting you.
Yes.
Love.
And it's important to know that Saturn isn't it's a major transit, and it's a major planet for us. Like, because we go through our Saturn returns and our Saturn oppositions several times, or 4 major times through our life. We have 2 Saturn oppositions, which is where we break free. When you're 15, around then you would have had it where you're like, I'm an adult, I know everything. So that's your Saturn opposition. That's where you like crash and burn as an adult. And then you have your like 28 to 30, depending there, where you'd like step into this adulthood. And that's where Saturn's like conjunct. It comes back to where it was when you were born. And it's like, here, let's align. And then you have your opposition again at 45-ish, which is another crash because you're getting to the end of your, third life cycle. So you're just like, I need to wake up. And then when you have your final, well, hopefully not final, it'd be nice if we live forever, but usually our last Saturn return happens around the age of 60. So anyone who was born from March 1967, I had it written down, to April 1969, they're having their second Saturn return. And this is, I need to prepare for retirement. I need to let go of all of the things that where my purpose was so oriented, where I was so, fighting for this. Now I need to restructure and go into a place that's more suited to the wisdom years.
Wow. I love that Saturn can be applied, like overlaid into your life in this hero's journey, because when you said at 45 that you're having that the conjunct again, that I'm like, oh my God, that's actually when my perimenopause was triggered. And I can actually, my body is so freaking smart that it's like, I'm going to work with Saturn and start to like let things fall away that we're done with to prepare for the next phase. So
yeah,
so good.
I love that. The preparation. And what year were you born, Cuddy?
78.
Oh, so then you and I and anyone around that era, we were very lucky. We had so it was the Saturn opposition at 45, where Saturn opposes your natal one, but we also had our Uranus opposition at that same time. So we had like authenticity and preparation all come at us, but on a different level. Like Saturn, the second opposition is wiser. It's like, wait a minute, why am I still holding on to this stuff? Like, so that was very well said.
The magic of Saturn. I'm really loving it. And I don't really know the planets the way that you do, but every time we have one of these transits, it's like, oh, I got to know Pluto, and oh, now I know Saturn. I love it.
I love that you're loving them. And me too. They're like little, floating orbs of wisdom in the sky that have so much significance in our life. And we, yeah.
The billionaires watch the stars, Sandy, and we are making billionaires on this show, I tell you.
I like that. And it's true. All the most successful people, they watch the rhythms of the world.
Right?
Totally true. We're the center.
Yeah.
And we watch everything move around us. So. This I know. I'm still working on Sandy. Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Sandy. Here I thought Kathy had a whole bunch of extra things. I am just happy to receive. Thorough. I'm just happy to receive anything from Sandy. It always blows me away. And I love the whole Jungian philosophy and psychology because it's true. We have the shadow side and we are shining the light on it. And that really spoke to me at the beginning, even though my pronunciations were not fantastic, but I'll work on that. Yeah, fantastic again. And I just can't wait for the next time we get to hang out with you, Sandy. So thanks so much for joining us, and just remind everybody where they can come find you. And I hope that you have as many people come to you as humanly possible.
Thank you, both of you. I love doing these. It's fun to have a place to talk about astrology. So I appreciate it so much. To find me, my business is Solar Power Health. So www.solarpowerhealth.com. You can go there for readings, for information. And I have a YouTube channel, same thing, and Instagram. That's the best places to find me.
Awesome. I'm going to go check it out right now. And I just wish everybody a great day, and I can't wait to put this one out as soon as possible. I'm going to hit the old production booth right away and get it out there for you, Sandy. And until the next time, keep living your genius, everybody, and we're going to see you on the next episode.